You bump into a chair and you say sorry to the chair. Someone steps on your foot in a crowded room, and before they can react, the word is already out of your mouth. Sorry. You apologize for asking a question. You apologize for taking up space. You apologize for being sad in front of someone who asked how you were doing. You say sorry for crying. Sorry for needing. Sorry for existing a little too loudly in a room. And the strangest part is, you don't even decide to say it. It just falls out of you, automatic, before your brain has time to check whether you did anything wrong at all. You've started to notice it now, the way the word sits at the front of your mouth, always loaded, always ready to fire. And somewhere underneath the habit, a quieter question is forming. Why do I keep apologizing for things that aren't my fault? Let's decode that today, because the answer is not what you've been told. For years, people have handed you the same tired labels. They called you a pushover. They said you have no backbone. They told you that you're weak, that you let people walk all over you, that you need to grow a spine. Maybe a partner rolled their eyes and said, "Stop apologizing, it's annoying." Maybe a friend laughed and said, "You say sorry for breathing." And you took that in. You decided the problem was you, that you were broken, anxious, too soft for a hard world. You started to believe that this reflex was proof of some deep flaw in your character. But that diagnosis is wrong. It was never weakness. It was never a missing backbone. What you've been calling a flaw is actually a system that learned to keep you safe. Let me show you what's really happening. I want you to picture a smoke detector. A smoke detector has one job: to sense danger before it spreads. And a good smoke detector is sensitive. It goes off at the first hint of smoke, long before the fire arrives. Your apology reflex is a smoke detector, not for fire, but for conflict. For the moment another person might get angry, disappointed, or pull their love away. Your brain learned, somewhere along the line, that tension in another human was dangerous, so it built a detector. And the word sorry became your alarm. It fires the instant your system senses the faintest trace of someone's displeasure. Not because you're weak, but because at some point, staying connected to people was a matter of survival. A smoke detector that goes off too easily isn't broken. It's just calibrated for a more dangerous building than the one you live in now. And that calibration happened for real reasons. Let's look at the science underneath it. Trauma therapist Pete Walker popularized the term fawn response to describe this pattern, the fourth trauma response that nobody talks about. You've heard of fight, flight, and freeze. Fawn is the fourth one. When fight or flight isn't safe, when you can't run and you can't push back, your system automatically activates another survival strategy: appease. Make yourself smaller, softer, agreeable. Apologize before the other person can escalate. The fawn response is your brain trying to dissolve a threat by becoming pleasant, and sorry is the fastest tool it has. For many people, this gets wired in early. If you grew up around someone whose mood could turn without warning, you became an expert reader of emotional weather. You learned to apologize first to head off the storm. Therapists sometimes call this emotional weather reading, the ability to sense a shift in someone's mood before they have said a single word. That brings us to the second concept. Researchers call it hypervigilance. It's a state where your brain constantly scans the environment for threat, even when no threat is present. For you, the threat isn't a predator. It's a sigh, a tone shift, a face that goes a little blank. Your brain catches these microsignals faster than most people ever could, and the moment it catches one, the alarm sounds, and out comes the apology. Hypervigilance is exhausting because the detector never fully turns off. Maybe you have experienced this. Someone walks into the room quieter than usual, and within seconds, you are already wondering what you did wrong. That is hypervigilance running in real time. Sometimes those signals are real, and sometimes an anxious brain fills in gaps that aren't actually there. There's a third piece, and it explains why the word feels so automatic. Many therapists describe this pattern as over-responsibility. It's the belief, buried deep, that other people's feelings are your job to manage. If someone is upset, you assume you caused it. If the room is tense, you assume you have to fix it. Over-responsibility takes every emotion in the room and files it under your name. So of course you apologize. In your internal world, everything really is your fault. Not because it is, but because you were trained to carry what was never yours to hold. In relationships, over-responsibility looks like this. Your partner is quiet over dinner. You spend the rest of the evening running through everything you might have said or done. A colleague gives you short feedback. You replay the conversation 3 times, wondering if you offended them. A friend cancels plans. You assume it was something you did. Over-responsibility turns other people's inner worlds into your personal responsibility report, and it is exhausting. Because you are carrying emotional weight that was never yours to begin with. Now, here's what I need you to understand. A sensitive smoke detector is a gift in the right hands. It means you notice when someone is hurting before they say a word. It means you're attuned, considerate, deeply aware of the people around you. The goal was never to rip the detector out of the wall. The goal is to recalibrate it. So it goes off for actual fire, not for burnt toast. And here's what is important to understand before we get to the tools. You do not need to become a different person. You do not need to become someone who stops caring, someone who lets things roll off, someone who reads a room and feels nothing. The sensitivity that built your apology reflex is the same sensitivity that makes you attuned to people in a way most will never be. It is what makes you the person someone calls when they are struggling. It is what makes you catch the moment a conversation shifted before anyone else noticed. That does not have to go away. You are just learning to run a different check before the word leaves your mouth. Not am I the problem here, but is this actually my fire to put out? Let me give you 3 tools to help you tell the difference. The first one I call the swap. Every time you feel the word sorry rising, you replace it with thank you. Instead of sorry I'm late, you say thank you for waiting. Instead of sorry for venting, you say thank you for listening. Here's why this works. Psychologists find that repeated apologizing can reinforce the subconscious feeling that you did something wrong even when you did not. Thank you redirects the same impulse toward connection without the self-blame. You still show respect for the other person. You just stop filing a false confession. You keep the kindness without taking the blame. The second tool is the pause and locate. When you feel the apology coming, you stop and you ask one question. Did I actually do something, or did I just feel someone's discomfort? This is you stepping in between the alarm and the response. You're inviting your thinking brain back online to gently soothe the survival brain that triggered the alarm. The first few times, it will feel slow and awkward. That's the override working. Over time, practices like this can help interrupt that old reflex and lay the groundwork for a new response. You're recalibrating the detector, one moment at a time. The third tool is the held silence. This one is the hardest and the most powerful. When tension fills a room and your whole body screams to apologize and smooth it over, you don't. You let the silence sit. You breathe. You let the discomfort exist without rushing to absorb it. Here's what's happening inside you. Your brain has predicted catastrophe, that if you don't fix this, something terrible will happen. The held silence lets you collect evidence that the prediction is wrong. The room doesn't fall apart. The person doesn't leave. The tension passes on its own without you sacrificing yourself to it. Each time you hold the silence, you teach your nervous system a new truth. You are showing your brain, through experience, that the catastrophe it predicted did not arrive, that you can tolerate discomfort without erasing yourself to make it stop. That silence is not the same as abandonment. That tension can pass without you being the one to dissolve it. Other people's feelings can exist without being your emergency. That is how the detector gets recalibrated for good. Start small, hold the silence for 3 seconds, then 5. Let your brain learn that you survive it. Now let's come back to where we started. You are not a pushover. You are not weak. You are not someone with no backbone. You are someone whose smoke detector was installed in a burning building and never got reset for the calmer life you live now. That detector is proof of how hard you work to stay safe. It is proof of how deeply you can read a room, how much you care, how attuned you are to the people you love. None of that has to go away. You just get to choose when the alarm sounds. You get to decide that not every flicker of someone's mood is a fire you have to put out. You get to keep your sensitivity and drop the false confessions. The word sorry can become something you offer, not something that escapes you. A gift you give, not a reflex you flinch into. You were never too much. You were just an early warning system in a world that finally got quieter. Your sensitivity was never the fire. It was always the smoke detector keeping you safe until you were strong enough to reset it. This is Mind Decoded, where we make sense of the parts of you that nobody ever explained. If this resonated, subscribe and stay with us. Because this habit of apologizing for everything often comes from the same place as another struggle, feeling responsible for everyone else's emotions. And once you understand that connection, a lot of your life starts to make sense. Click the next video right here. I will see you over there.